Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how is everybody? Let's see, what do we got? According to that, there's one up there anyway. Looks like it. I hope we get a good turnout today. I even made notes today. See, I going to have something to say. Winging it doesn't work too good. Not when you get my age. Yep, at 77, you don't, you don't think on your feet as fast as you used to. So, thought I'd start the thing out with a little music today. One of these days, I'll start it out with my guitar. One of these days when my arthritis isn't so bad in my fingers. But anyway, we get there. So, who is with us today? I see we got two according to the little numbered thing up there. So, I have a number of things I'm going to throw in here today. As soon as I get a few people. I hope everybody's surviving this nonsense we got going. I know everybody's getting tired of it, but unfortunately, it's with us for a while. Oh, got three now, I guess. No, I had three. Now I got two. Then just jumped to three and went back to two. Who we got here? Oh, Susan Stewart. Hello there. I'm so glad you're here. I made notes today, so I got remember what I wanted to cover. So I hope you're well, Susan. And I see we got two other people with us, so we're doing pretty good. One of the things I want to cover, this is for everybody in the States. I don't know about the other countries. Our census that they're sending us constantly. This is like my 10th or 11th census card they've sent me. I filled the thing out when I first got it. And ever since then, they keep sending them to me. I got a friend that they keep sending to him. And so we called up, I says, what am I supposed to do with all these? They said, well, just keep them to show anybody in case they ask. Can you imagine if I just sat there and filled out all of them that I've got? They think we had a lot more population than what we got. I know that. Eddie's thinking of filling all his out. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else is getting all loaded up on these things or not, but they're coming. One of the big things I'm going to go over this morning is this new telehealth thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I have love doctors and nurses and all. I'm fully behind them. But this telehealth thing, I don't see. I don't see it. My wife had her yearly physical the other day over the telephone. Now, how do you get a it's not even being seen. So it's like, it's basically, how do you feel? This, that, and that was it. And anyway, don't make much sense to me. And I have an appointment with my heart doctor the 10th of June. Now, remember, this particular appointment was set up by my primary care doctor because he thought I ought to see my heart doctor much sooner than what the appointment really was, because there's been a few things going on. But anyway, so to make a long story short, I was supposed to have a EKG and an echocardiogram and all that good stuff. And unless we're going to get that over the phone, we ain't going to get it. Anyhow, so I'm going to have a telephone consultation with him on the 10th of June. Excuse me. I wonder how this is going to go down the road. Down the road, we're going to send you a kit in the mail, that you got to have your tonsils out here. Give this kit to your wife and she'll do it and we'll guide her through it. I don't know how this is going to. That's supposed to be funny, by the way. Anyhow, that's about enough on that subject. Oh, while we're on the subject of doctors and any other important businesses and stuff, and I don't know, maybe you people have run into this too. You get these calls, private caller, out of area, this and that. Well, half of them are scam calls, and people trying to sell you stuff. One doctor I go to that does tell is my dermatologist. Can't get a skin cancer check that way. Excuse me. I don't know if that's good or bad. Don't mind me. I have to clear my lungs in the morning when I first get up. First few hours I'm up. Yeah. Well, anyway, as I started to say on this, these calls coming in, half of these doctors and stuff now, it comes through private caller, unlisted, this and that. Now, wait a minute. How about why can't they be more professional and have this thing come through Dr. Such and Such's office, or if it's your car dealership calling you about your car repair, say what they are, not private caller. I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. Anyway, and yeah, my wife's got to see her dermatologist too. She got an appointment June something, which is an interesting thing. She's got 2 appointments in June. One a dermatologist, and one's to get a shot in her back because she has to get these nerve blocks, which she's needed all through this packet. I'm going to call it the plague. All the way through this plague deal. Hey, Bubbles, how you doing, grandson? She's got to have 2 coronavirus tests, one for the dermatologist and one for the nerve block deal in her back. And she said to him, "Look," she says, "they're within a week of each other. Can I have one test? Oh no, got to have separate tests." Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, it's they've got to test you before you can go in and have your procedures done, is what it is. Which she hasn't got anything, so that's it's these viruses are scared to come near her. I'll tell you that. Better be anyway. Well, nothing happened to her. Yeah, Bubbles, it is scary. Let's see who else we get here. Well, String of Hearts, we're glad you're there, and you're going to be in the background at work. That's okay. Just glad you're here. Glad everybody's here. Well, by finding time enough to do it, and I have to do it like she took her sister. Her sister has to go every 3 weeks. She had 4-stage cancer, and that's gone. I attribute a lot of that to the fact that our church prayed like mad, and the thing disappeared. So we're hoping that's what, at least it's gone. But anyway, she has to go and get these shots every 3 weeks. I don't know, boost her immune system or something. I'm not too sure what it is. But it's something to do with it, keeping this cancer stuff out of her, away from her. Oh, you changed your name. I get messing me up here. See that? You changed your name. Well, that's good. As long as it's the same great person, we got it made. I'm glad you're here anyway. But yeah, this is some strange times we're living in, and it looks like we're stuck in. This stuff's going to be with us for a long time. It looks like the doctors are all predicting another wave of it in November. I don't know. It we'll hope not. What I'm praying for is that they get shots so that we can, you know, just like going down and get a flu shot, we can go down and get this shot. What gets me is they just did a poll, and only 49% of the people said they'd get that shot. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't understand that. I mean, here we got a deadly disease that's really, I mean, this thing it's brutal on some people. And some people don't even know they got it. I mean, they say, I got well, it's my wife's niece's daughter that they figured she had it in February. Oh, there's Australia. That's good. We got a lot of different countries going here. We got England, we got Australia, of course, the United States. I mean, we're doing pretty good. But I don't know. Now, if they offer me a vaccine, I'm on it. Of course, I'm 77. I mean, I got 77. I got heart problems and I got bad lungs. Yes, I would love a vaccine for it because if the stuff gets me, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever make it through it. It's midnight for you. And yeah, that's right. It would be in Australia. It would be midnight. Well, I'm glad that you stayed up. Mm-hmm. 3:15 in the afternoon for you then. Yeah. Yeah, and here it's a little after 10 here. Let's see what this is. That's good. Well, that's what she did. She had her niece had her grandniece, I guess it would be. She was sick for about 3 weeks, and sick a dog. And of course, in February, nobody was looking for January and February. Nobody was looking for this thing, and I figure it's been here quite a long time. That you know, I figure it must have got over here probably the tail end of December or something. I would guess that. By the time it broke out over there, it probably was already being moved around. They figure now. I was watching a thing on the television there. They figured that we got ours from Europe now. I mean, of course, it came from China over to Europe, and then that's how it got in, was actually from Europe. So I don't know. Homeschooling yet, right? Or are you guys back to regular school? Oh, we can't have that motorbike messing up now. Come on. That's I enjoy watching you ride that thing, or the films you do when you do it, you know. I'll see you later. Oh, you're back to regular school down there. Well, that's interesting. Here they haven't figured out yet how they're even going to operate school. They figured if they'd done it on social medium, I was watching one thing on it, and they figured they'd get about 12 kids to the classroom, which is that isn't going to work. Normally they got 25 to 30, so you know how that is. I'll see you later, grandson. Take care of everything over there in England. They haven't figured out what they're going to do with our schools yet. It won't get back till fall anyway. Me, I would like to see them put more UV lights in. But they're washing their hands. It seems to be the big thing. That, and we all wearing masks here. It's I was going to say about these UV lights. This UV light, it kills germs, viruses, and all that stuff. There's a fellow, I don't remember what state it is in now, out in one of the western states. He's got a big thing in the middle of his restaurant, and he made it all out of UV lights. And he figures, hey, whoever comes in, it's going to cleanse them. I would like to see that done with the schools. Why not have a couple of lights as you go in? And then in the classrooms, because you get them in fluorescent tubes, stick one or two in the ceilings around in each classroom to help kill the germs. I mean, that's just my theory, and it could be all wet and not even have the slightest idea, you know, how this. But from what I read on it, that would be a great way to go. And somebody said one of the airlines is using it. And I went on Amazon and I looked, and not only could you get the fluorescent tubes, you can even get a little hand wand that you can run over everybody and kill the germs off. Well, I have lots of crazy ideas. Well, mainly having been working with electronics most of my life and this type of stuff, I kind of think more into it, I think, as some people do. And to me, it just sounds logical. An inexpensive way to kill this stuff. As I started to say, on Amazon, you can get this little wand. It's about this long. And you just run that up and down the body, and it kills all the germs. Now, if this stuff actually works, that'd be great. And it must, because they were talking about it on TV, and then this guy, he built that thing out of it, and they were praising him for that, and being that the airlines are using it, or one airline is using it anyway. I would think it'd be a great thing. And the nicest thing is it doesn't cost a fortune. The fluorescent tubes, and of course the schools and stuff could probably get these cheaper because they're going to buy in bulk. But they were like $23 for the fluorescent tube on, they go right in your regular fluorescent lights. So the schools could probably get them in bulk for probably about $15 a piece or something, which is I would think would be a fairly inexpensive way, considering, you want to be able to fill these classrooms. Well, they're doing the subway cars in New York too, huh? See, I think it'd be great stuff. It makes sense to me anyway. I wanted to get a fluorescent tube and put it in my room here, and wife was having a fit about that. She says, "You ain't put no fluorescent tube in there." She said, "You got enough stuff in there now." That big last puzzle I did a video on, I completed that. And I That was a hard one. Very hard. It had too many items in it that were the same color. You split their table. That's what they were talking about doing here. But the only thing was, is they were going to do it to the point, I guess, where they were only going to have like a dozen kids to the classroom, which doesn't, that's we have too many kids to do that. So I don't know. I don't know if the plastic shields would work on, I mean, between the desk or not. I have no idea. I do know that the offices, one of the office deals up in Syracuse, they're raising in the cubicles, how they got the little walls around them. They're raising those. So if a guy sneezes on this side, guy on the other side ain't going to get it. I just hope that this they figure out something so everybody don't end up sick. Oh, that's right. You're going back into winter. And that's when all these doctors claim that we're going to, like, for us, November is winter, and that's when they figure we're going to get another spike. So, well, I pray you guys don't get another spike down there. I pray everybody don't get another spike. This is ridiculous. I forget to look at the camera once in a while. I'm reading over here. What Singapore had a big spike, huh? I don't know. I don't know what went on there. I I got mixed emotions on this China bet. I mean, not backing them up, but here in the States, we're almost at a Cold War with them, and I don't think that's a good thing either. I mean, I don't know, because what we've been doing. Well, we've been sitting over here building nothing. They've been over there building like crazy. And somewhere there's a video on YouTube I was watching, and they got like a dozen new carriers that they had rolled out and stuff like that. I mean, they've been over there building a military like it's. We've been sitting over here. I don't know. I've been thinking right along that we should have a. Well, I think we should have at least a extra million-man standing army and stuff like that. And of course, I'm one of these great believers. And I mean, I'm the old school. I went to, we had the draft. I enlisted, but that's, it didn't matter. You had a big military back then. Now we've got a very good military, but it's small compared to what we really need, because we're spread out all over the world. And I'd like to see that build up a lot more. And of course, our president tried to build it up, but, it's pretty hard to do much of anything when you got two parties that are just fighting one another tooth and nail, which is another bad thing, because the Democrats and the Republicans are supposed to be down there working for us. not to see how many points they can make for themselves against the other party. I mean, this has gone too far. I mean, one second, I got a phone ringing. I'll be right back. I'm back. I brought the phone in with me. The only reason I could get these is because all these stupid doctors and stuff. I don't know what that one was. I didn't recognize the number, so it was probably um, oh yeah, that's definitely a spam call, I believe. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Susan, you didn't have to retract your message. You can say anything you want on here. Yeah, I know we got a lot of stuff. I want us to have a lot more because that stuff goes pretty fast if you get into a war. And actually, war is not a great thing. There's no winners in war. I know. I got to play in one. And when you get all said and done, you got a bunch of dead people on both sides, and you know, and don't get me wrong here. I'm not a pacifist or something like that. In fact, you wouldn't want to see me as supreme dictator. That's what I say. So a guy asked me once, he says, why don't you run for president? I says, well, number one, I don't have millions of dollars. I says, number two, I said, they don't want a supreme dictator. and, but I look at history. I'm a great history buff. I have been studying history ever since I was very young in school. Um, I happened to have a history teacher in school that brought everything to life. And I mean, he'd lived it all. He was Hitler Youth. That was the equivalency of Boy Scouts, only more militaristically, that they had when Hitler was in office in Germany there. And that's where he was from. So, and of course, he came to this country and became a citizen and what have you. But he knew all this stuff because he'd been through it. And he brought history to life quite well. And of course, world history was basically wars and stuff anyway. And this man could he'd bring it all to life to you because his house was a museum. You had this big old Victorian mansion, and each room was a war period. And he had artifacts from the wars. He had uniforms. He even had some Roman stuff. I mean, he could, no matter what it was, he brought it to life. And of course, he was controversial in those days, really was. In fact, the town fathers in those days, they went over to his house and he took them through and showed them. And when they saw what he had, then they understood. But he would wear whatever war you were studying, he'd wear that uniform to school. Well, gosh, that caught all the kids' imagination, and he was way ahead of his time. And he was a very good teacher. And I was lucky. I had several good teachers, but I really got interested in history, and I've studied history all my life. And the one thing I've said is that our politicians don't read enough history books. They don't really know history. And of course, school is not teaching history anymore. We're not teaching real history. The stuff that actually went on, no, they're not teaching it. They're shortcutting it. They're not really telling the whole truth. It's just, our young people are getting shortchanged on history. There was a lot of things that went on, especially during World War II, that it would be beneficial for them to know. The Holocaust is something that really they need to really preach on it, because we don't need it. We don't need another Holocaust of any peoples. That's something that's got to never happen again. Susan, you took your message back, but you never put another message in. You can put anything you want in there. No, I'm not a big fan of the Chinese government either. So don't think I am. Especially if we're sitting over here. What I'm thinking of is this: let's not make them too mad. We don't make nothing in this country anymore. We do a little bit. I hunt for everything made in America. If it's made in America, I find it. And but it's awful hard. Well, it could be. I mean, especially if anybody gets to throwing nuclear stuff around. It wouldn't take, too many nuclear weapons going off in this whole world, and our atmosphere can't handle it. Our whole ecosystem is on a tipsy-turvy balance as it is. I mean, and you set off that much nuclear radiation in the world, and I'm not sure that anything's going to survive. I know we'd all be back in the ones that did survive will be right back in the Stone Age, just about. So it's not not something that wants to be gone into lightly. And I don't know. And unfortunately, some of these countries are very territorial. I don't understand why China is obsessed with wanting to take over Hong Kong. I have no idea. Just leave Hong Kong alone. And of course, I'm one of them guys that said that Hong Kong should have never been handed over to them to start with, way back. I don't care if there was a lease or this or that or whatever. No, it should have never happened. That's the problem with 99-year leases and stuff. Our governments will go 99 lease on this, year lease on that, and they don't think ahead. What happens at the end of 99 years? Did you just sell these poor people right back into slavery somewhere, or whatever? I don't know. I don't know how bad off it is. I do know that the Chinese government does have a way of saying that, it never happened. What is it, Tiananmen Square? I'm probably not pronouncing that right, where they massacred all the people there. And afterwards they said that never happened. So, that's sounds like a lot of the other wild dictators in the world. Well, China would like to take over Japan too, And I just hope that the Japanese are building a good size army over there. I'm hoping. I don't know what they got. But I think in today's world, I think most of these countries had better have a pretty good sized army because I don't think the United States can protect everybody. I mean, everybody's going to have a little military of their own. Um, right now, I know that Britain's got a pretty efficient, but it's a small army, but it's proficient. They got some good planes and stuff on Australia, and I'm not too sure what they got north of us up in Canada. Um, I know they got some stuff, but the other countries, I'm not sure what Germany's got and France and them, but they all need to have strong militaries because we're pretty spread out. I don't know if it all broke loose to once. It's like South Korea. That's a dangerous situation because you got the guy setting up in North Korea up there, and he's a little scary. Of course, the problem with with dictators, they live in their own little worlds, and they begin to believe their own propaganda and their own what have you, and they think they're the biggest thing around. Yes, I agree totally with you. Excuse me, they own a lot of stuff over here. I don't know. Of course, to me, you're going to all think I'm crazy on this, but I think when all our companies went over to China, I think that was high treason, as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't have let them go. I just said to the CEOs, "Oh, you want to go to China? Go, yeah, go, but your company's staying here." Uh, it's not good. Yeah, it's awful hard. You go into any of our stores, and it's pretty hard to find anything made in America. It's a few little companies are coming back, not a few companies that I was very happy to find out that a lot of our puzzles are still made here anyway. They're made right in Buffalo, New York, so that helps. I mean, it won't help us in a war, but at least we got something made here. And Ford Motor Company's still pretty much here. Yes, that's a sore subject with me. Our country did the same thing. Uh, we built a nuclear bomb, and then we started sharing it with people. It's like, wait a minute. Some countries got it that I don't really like to see happen. Out of the whole bunch, Russia's kind of I don't think they want a nuclear war with anybody any more than anybody else does. I think they're the type of country that I think even Putin there, he'd like to. He's president of their little country, and I think he'd like to keep it that way, all in one piece, without having it blown up. Um, so I don't think he wants to start anything in a hurry. He might, as they say, rattle the sabers once in a while to scare people a little bit, but to let people know he's still there. But I don't think he wants to. China, I don't know. Uh, I don't know how far they would go. I know they got lots of nuclear weapons. Oh, and they got that new missile that's, oh my gosh, so much time faster than ours. That Putin made sure he had to shoot that one off just to let us know. That's what I say. That's what they used to in the old day call rattling of sabers. Uh, it's a way of letting everybody else in the world know you got something. And but I think that 1 minute, I got a phone ringing.
Call from Frontal J.
Hi, Jan. I'm right in the middle of a live stream. Yeah, I'll call you back in a little bit. No. She took her sister to have her thing. Okay, bye bye. I'm back at you. I don't know how far they go. War is well, I've been there, and as I say, there's no winners really. I mean, I'm talking about the little guy down the bottom. We're not talking about some guy in a mansion somewhere making decisions, going, "Oh yeah, let's attack this one or attack that one." And most of the time when a lot of innocent people get killed that shouldn't have. I mean, let's use Nagasaki and Hiroshima as an example. Those were civilian cities. And basically those bombs just killed a lot of civilians. And I don't know. I almost think there could have been better targets picked or something. I mean, I would pick strictly military targets or something. But it's done. It's in the past, and it's like everything else that's in the past. It's a good place to leave it. Learn from it, but leave it there. There's too many people running around yelling about, oh, this happens, so we're owed this and we're that. And I'm sorry, this is where this is now, and learn from the past. We don't want any more Holocausts. Of any races or peoples. We don't, that type of stuff. That's what we got to learn from. We don't want to go and do that. I don't know. When I was a kid, I knew a couple of Jewish people who had survived the Holocaust. They were right in the death camps when we went in and rescued them, I guess. And bad stuff. These people wouldn't talk about it, but you could tell by their actions that they were marred for life. I mean, I remember this one old fella. When I was a kid, you'd go in a restaurant and he'd sit there with his cup of coffee and he had his hands on both sides of it like this. Because in the death camps, whatever you had, they'd take it away from you. You said that exactly right. All it takes is a handful. Now, just like China, probably the average Chinaman has, he doesn't want to attack us anymore than we want to attack him. I'm pretty sure of it. In fact, the Chinese people I know in this country that came over there, I mean, they're very nice people. So I think that you said it right. It's a handful on the top. They control this thing, and I think if the people had their say on it, a lot of things would be different. I personally think that things should be voted on by the people, myself, in all countries. If you got a major issue, why should a handful of senator, congressman, whatever, do it their way? And they do it their way. They don't listen to us. I mean, you could take 50,000 people can go down to Washington and march tomorrow about something, and the Senate and the House does exactly what they want to do anyway, so it doesn't matter. They don't even listen to them, whether they're right or wrong. So it's, and our country has done some pretty weird things. I mean, World War I, after World War I, the American military veterans, which was mainly Army at that time, done a peaceful march on Washington. This is part of history. You can all look this up if you can get an honest history book. Even the History Channel had a few things on this. But anyway, they went down there and they marched on Washington, and they turned the cavalry loose on them. Slaughtered a bunch of them. And all they were doing was a peaceful march, wanting their muster out pay, because they were promised this bonus and they didn't get it. And there's some nasty things been done in history by a lot of countries. So, but them are the things we want to learn in history, and we don't repeat them. We don't let them happen again. Unfortunately, just like right now, our country is at a mess. We've got the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and they don't want to work together at all. They have just basically declared war on each other. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we elect them and send them down there. They're supposed to be down there working together for our good. Well, the last little stimulus package that we got, there were certain politicians, and they probably ended up burying this in there anyway, because the newsmen that caught up with it probably, him blowing the whistle, then I'm sure didn't stop it. One of them wanted to spend several $1 million, threw in that package on remodeling their cafeteria down there. Now that's not a cafeteria like you and I know. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm glad we got it. It's the type of stuff we need. The more of it we got, the more it'll keep these, dictators. That's about what it amounts to. We'll call them dictators for lack of better words. It kind of keeps them in line a little bit. Because about the only thing they do understand is force. I will say one thing: our president did try to. Australia and the U.S. are close allies too. Same with New Zealand. Yes, we are in England. Can't leave England out. And, you have to have good, strong allies in today's world. Well, always did have. You always had to. Even the kings of old tried to unite with other kingdoms and stuff to, but as I say, though, history, you can learn a lot from it. I don't know where we're going with any of what's going on. I think I know one thing: they want to be careful. They don't want some idiot pushing a button. Because I don't know if mankind would survive in some shape, or I think it'd be more like putting us back pretty much into the Stone Age. But depending on how much of this stuff actually hit, but just the radiation from it is the bad thing. And then you got a lot of other little countries sitting there that have still got all this poison gas and stuff, and they're not beyond using that. And I don't know. That's too much nasty stuff all going on to once. If you turn that all loose, it's not good. If you can keep it right down to like the old wars of Napoleon and what have you. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Well, if all these countries would just calm down and just, work together. But there again, how are you going to get them to work together? We got a Senate and a House that can't, that are basically at odds with each other. Both political parties are at odds with each other. It's very very hard to get anything done. And then every time they pass a bill, everybody's got to have a little something tucked into that. So the bill, bills come out, look, yay thick. I mean, they just, where I learned that and realized it the first time was when Richard Nixon, I'm coming back to Richard Nixon now, during the phony energy crisis of 1974. Because in 1974, they told us by 1976 there would be no fuel left. So that was a pretty phony deal. Oh, we know that. We know that. I totally agree. That thing really ran rapid over there for a while. Much worse than what they would let on. Of course, I hate to say it, but this thing caught everybody, with the old saying is with their pants down. It caught all these countries. We're supposed to be prepared for anything. We're supposed to be prepared for to take care of all the sick and what have you if we had a nuclear war or something. Well, this just kind of proves to you that we were not ready. We didn't even have enough ventilators if we'd have needed them all. As it was, we probably had enough to get by, but thanks to our governor, and I will give him a lot of credit. I never was a big Cuomo fan at all. Yes, it would have. I don't know why they hit it. I mean, of course, you got to remember something with communist governments. They always try to cover things up. And I don't know. I don't know why. They should have done things right out in the open and said, hey, we got this thing going on over here. You better prepare for it. But we should have been prepared for it. There was a study done, and I think it was 2015, right here in our state. And it was recommended. Oh yes, well that propaganda. That's that type of thing. But there was a study done right here in New York State, and they recommended at that time that we should have I think it was 30,000 ventilators or I can't remember what now, but some more ventilators and all this other stuff we needed. Well, this whole big study was done, but nobody did anything about it. We should have had this stuff. We should have been ready because there was some major doctors a few years back said we had something like this coming. And it because I mean, this type of stuff happens every so often. Yep, I wouldn't be at all surprised. It's well, it weakened everybody's economy, including their own to some extent. Um, it's I don't know. It's one of them things. It's here. We've all got to live with it. I got to fix my stand here a minute. There. I just noticed that wasn't locked down. I don't know. All I know is I hope that everybody has learned something from this, and I don't think they have, because we got a lot of states that didn't follow social distancing, and we got a lot of people that won't wear masks, and we got there's a lot of things going on, and I'm afraid that we're just going to keep recycling the thing. I mean, it's like, because right now we got some states right now where it's just starting to peak. It's just starting to go up because they weren't doing their social distancing. I'm not sure of how much you can actually open the country up until you get a vaccine. It's always going to be, until we get a vaccine, it's going to be an iffy thing. It can, it looks like something that's going to be able to be spread. And I don't know. The thing that got me is the number of people that had it. They test them. They found out, oh, you had it. These people didn't even know they had it. That's how late they had it. And other people, it hits them and puts them in a hospital. And if they're lucky, they get out of the hospital in 2 months and such stuff, some of them. And in fact, we just had I think that's a smart move. I really do. That's this thing that gets me. Okay, now we had New York City was our big hot spot in New York State, and you still got the airlines flying in and out of there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to say we should have grounded the airlines, but I don't know. I just don't understand. It's too easy to have somebody that's infected go from one area to another. Yeah, because they weren't affected. Be right back. All excuse me for just a minute, and I'll be right straight back. Sorry about that. I had to see what Mr. Whiskers was hollering about. And he's a great talker. Oh, we've had problems with Mr. Whiskers lately. He all of a sudden has decided you can't open a door without him wanting to sneak out. And we have chased him around the neighborhood on several occasions. And that has not been fun, especially at my age. But anyway, we managed to get him back in. I don't want him out there getting run over or anything else. Ugh. Anyhow, that's what I was doing. Now, I got a few things I tackled down here that I wanted to get into if I could. And these are more or less some of my personal gripes on the world. Of course, one of the things, telemarketers are all our big gripes. I'm sure. I don't think anybody out there really wants to hear from a telemarketer. And it doesn't do any good to hit the option for optioning out of this stuff, because all that does is let them know, hey, there is a person on the other end of this thing, and we'll just drive them crazy. Especially car warranties. My gosh sakes, I have had at least 25 pieces of mail on your warranty is running out. No, my warranty isn't running out. I don't even have that car anymore. So anyhow, that's the way that goes. Of course, one of my big gripes is people not wearing their face mask. And I'll give you a little example of this. Went down here. I was down to our local convenience store. That's where we have to get our gas and all. And I'm down there, and it happened to be a busy day, and everybody in the place is doing real well. Everybody's staying away from each other. They all got their mask on. This guy comes in with his little girl. Now, she had to be somewhere between 7 and 9. I'm no judge of kids anymore. I can't, really tell. But she was something about that. No mask. He's got no mask. Now, wasn't he setting a great example for that little child? Anyway, that mask deal is big. Another thing that drives me crazy is cars parked incorrectly. How many times you go into crowded parking lot and you go, well, I can't get in there. This guy's got his car at an angle taking up 3 parking spaces. That's, And how about the guy that's just plain parked right centered on the line between both of them? So he's got 2 parking spaces wiped out. That stuff drives me crazy. But anyway, I got that out of my system. Oh, yes. Let's talk about this doctor's visit over the phone one more time. Just one more time on this. I know 3 people now that have had doctor's visits over the phone. $245 is what they're charging, at least up here. I don't know what they're charging anywhere else, but here, $245 to talk to the doctor over the phone. Of course, the insurance is picking up a good chunk of that on these people. But I mean, isn't that ridiculous? I mean, that's more than they charge you to see them in person. Oh, Mr. Whiskers finally got his nails clipped. Our veterinarian finally opened up to the fact that they would come to the car, get your pet, take it in, and do its nails and bring it out. And of course, you have to pay with a credit card over the phone. I mean, you're sitting in their parking lot, paying with your credit card over the phone. It's a new world. It's a new world out there. Lots of places it's credit cards only. We have an outfit called Swan. Goes around with a truck. They deliver foods and stuff. Um, I don't know if any of the rest of you have or not. Yes. Well, you know how Mr. Whiskers is doing. He likes to sneak out. So now it's like this. When she left this morning, I had Mr. Whiskers cleaning the other end of the house, hanging on to him. I mean, when he can move. I didn't realize that this cat could move that much. I mean, he's an older cat, but you should see him outside. Uh, he he's like a greyhound. I'm telling you, gone. In fact, he almost had a bird. Day before yesterday, he got out. In fact, he's been out for about 4 days running in the mornings. I told Sharon, I says, no more opening the door without me having the cat somewhere else. And if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, he's chasing, he's running. I mean, like a greyhound. He went up the tree in the back and back down. I mean, he was having a ball out there, but I don't want him out there. There's too much traffic in the parking lot, and I don't want him run over. Plus, I don't want him outside getting fleas and ticks and all this other stuff anyway. And we have a swamp right behind us, and which is nice because it's full of birds. You've got bullfrogs that sing to you at night. But I don't want him down in that either. And I just plain don't want him out. So that's that with Mr. Whisker. But he's healthy. He's great. And but anyway, that's how you take your pets to the vet here now. And but at least they finally opened up. His nails were due to be cut when this thing started, when they closed this down. And I called them up. I says, because they had a notice. Thank you. Well, we're glad he's doing well too. I called him up when this thing all started. I said, please, can you cut his nails one more time? Nope. Here he was due. He actually had an appointment, which they canceled. So, okay. Can you imagine the claws on that cat? Now, they just did him the 18th of this month. And he's been all that time with his nails just growing. I mean, he grows nails. And he got to the point where, well, he likes to hold hands with you. He wants to put his paw on your hand at night. And we got to the point where he didn't dare because he just, he had battle scars by morning. Because his nails were so long. He was getting hung up in the rugs. And we tried to clip him a little bit. But let's face it, she can't see that well. I can't see that well up close. And to do that. And with my arthritis, I can't run the clippers worth a nickel. So, but we did manage to cut a couple, but we gave up because we were afraid we were going to get into the quick and hurt him, At least now they're taking him in like that. Oh, and they're going to open our casino June 10th, I think. Which one newsman on the radio said, great. He says, I can go gamble. He says, but I can't get my hair cut, which is pretty much the truth. Although I have an excellent barber. You see, my hair is still cut. Of course, I keep it cut short anyway. But Sharon is now my barber. My wife is. Now, she's twice now she's cut my hair. And when she gets done, I'll just touch up a hair. That's it to me. Because I keep my hair cut short anyway, so don't. There you go. So anyway, that's some things I wanted to cover. Let's see. Covered the doctor's visits over the phone. I did the cars not correctly. But I am against this, the doctor talking to you over the phone. I mean, it might be all right for some things. I mean, if you got a question or something, that's all right. But your physical over the phone, I mean, really, I mean, come on, that's a little bit. My wife's had 2 doctor's appointments over the phone. And it's ridiculous. Oh, Bonk's with us. Hello, how you doing? Yeah, so this doctor bit over the phone, not crazy over it at all. It's there's no way they can check things. That's just like when I talked to my heart doctor there the 10th of June on the phone. I'm going to ask him right out. I'm going to say, hey, what happened to the echocardiogram and the EKG that my primary care doctor wanted done right away, way back in January? He says, you got to see your doctor right away. And anyway, it's almost hilarious. I mean, but you know, all this stuff was predicted. All the old science fiction writers, they predicted this stuff. All this, everything that's out there. I mean, everybody knows about Jules Verne's in his 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Him writing about an atomic submarine, and he wrote this in 1890 or something, way ahead of his time. But most of the other science fiction writers had different things in there that have come to pass. The one about the time traveler there. Correct name of the whole thing bothers me. But anyway, in the book, they got a little silver disc he's talking about with movies and news and stuff on it. Now, we all know that all came to pass. This stuff was written in the 1800s. And then there was other books that were written. Your television, a big screen television in your living room. Sometimes amazing how much it costs to just talk to someone who helps you with your health for however long. They may be busy, but just put you on hold. I understand that they need, yeah. Yes, it's got something different. It is way too expensive. If you don't have health insurance, you can't afford to go to the doctors. I was lucky, and number of years ago, because remember when I came back from the war, they didn't even want to talk to us. The VA treated us like crap. As I say, that was back in the 60s. And we come back and they treated us like garbage. So I never went back to the VA. I stayed away from them for years. Well, in 2000, I no longer had health insurance. And couldn't afford it. I says, well, I guess I get my cousin at that time, and God rest his soul, he's passed away since. But Russell used to tell me, he said, "You've got to go to the VA." He says, "It's not the old VA that you knew and I knew when we first come back." He says, "They're great now." So reluctantly, I went to the VA. Best thing I ever did. Uh, at least here, I don't know what it is in the rest part of the world, but here, biggest share of my doctors are from University Hospital. That's commonly known as Upstate Hospital here in New York State. That's in Syracuse. My doctors are all from Crouse um, and Upstate, and because the VA's got some good doctors of their own, but mainly they're all the specialists are all from the other ones. And then when I had my heart attack 2 years ago, they sent me over to St. Joe's, which is known for doing heart, and they put my stents in. I mean, I can't ask for better care. That's been very good. So I've been lucky. I don't have to pay for it. That's a great thing. And I don't have Medicare. I didn't sign up for it because when I became of age for Medicare, I asked my VA rep. I says, "Do I need this?" He says, "No." He says, "You got us and got everything." Okay. Well, for a while there, it would have been nice to have Medicare because I mean, I have to drive 50 miles to Syracuse. We do have a satellite VA in Rome, New York, which is about 20 miles from me. So anyway, I go there. My primary care doctor's there. But there's times, like you got a snowstorm or something going on, you'd like to go someplace different. My gosh, we have been going for an hour already, haven't we? Well, we won't go too much longer. And I'm very glad you all been here. I really am. I mean, I appreciate it. I thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Is Susan still with us? She never made another comment after that one. I don't know why. She could have. Yeah. Well, how did your homeschooling go? I mean, I know you're going back to school now. Was that okay? Am I into sports? Syracuse basketball. And I like to watch Syracuse basketball, though I'm not a dyed in the wool fan that goes to the stadium or anything like that. Can't afford to, number one. But I'm not a real dyed in the wool fan. Public broadcasting used to broadcast British football. I loved it. Well, I know that homeschooling had to be rough. Now, my wife's niece's niece, little girl. Gosh, it gets too big. But anyway, these one's a little girl, a little boy. She homeschooled them. But this woman is brilliant, and so she was teaching them like a regular teacher. I mean, it was they really came out of there. In fact, she figures when they go back, they might be able to jump a grade. I don't know. We'll see. Well, that's like us up here. They got stuff going on up here without any crowds, like car races without any spectators. I mean, that's. I'm I'm not a big fan of car racing. Not since my father and I, when I was a little boy, we used to go watch the midget racers. And those, of course, they didn't obtain the speeds today. Probably 60, 70 miles an hour or something was what they were doing going around that track. But anyway, they were fun to watch. And you could see them. This stuff today, if you went to go see a race live, this stuff's traveling at 200 miles an hour. It's just, that's it. Your head's just going, I mean, it's just, you can't really see it. Television, if you're going to watch a car race, television. But I'm not into it. I don't, I can't get into this car racing bit too much. It, just, it's like Jeff Durham has got the, I don't know if any of you are familiar with him or not. He's a ventriloquist. He's got the little dummies. He's got that one there, Bubba Jane or Bubba Joe or something like that, he calls him. Anyway, and he's always got him going. And he tells him, well, how was the race? He says, well, they made a left turn. And he says, then they made another left turn. And they made another left turn. That's pretty much the way it goes. And I can't get into, I don't know, I don't get into it. I'm probably one of the few individuals that I can't get into football. British football, I liked. British football was nonstop activity. That was when you sit down to watch British football, it was action all the way. There wasn't all these huddles and this, and then they bumped heads and stopped and do it all over again. That just, British football was pretty entertaining. I like that. That was cool. They don't show it on public broadcasting anymore, so they don't show a lot of things on public broadcasting that they used to. Because I love British television. Monty Python, Faulty Towers, Are You Being Served? Oh God, all them were tremendous. And there's 3-4 others. Oh, and Benny Hill. Oh my goodness, Benny Hill was awesome. I used to look forward to. I was a one night a week I didn't work. I'd come home so I could watch, because public broadcasting used to run Monty Python, Benny Hill, Faulty Towers, and then later on they added Are You Being Served? And oh my gosh, I mean those were great pictures. Well, I shouldn't say I don't watch it all. I used to watch Buffalo. In fact, I had a genuine Buffalo team jacket. And I used to be quite a Buffalo Bills fan. And they got to the Super Bowl three or four times right in a row. And in fact, there was about 3 of us. We're all sitting there watching it. And we quit watching because I don't know what went on, but the guy caught the ball. And he looked down at it like, uh-oh. And he went like that with it. And it was like, what's this all about? And I haven't watched it since. I figured somebody got paid to do something. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't want to say. And that's what my friends all thought. And a bunch of us, we just don't watch it anymore. I mean, it was right during the Super Bowl, and I just never could figure that one out. I mean, it wasn't a fumble. It was a don't know what that was all about. Anyhow, but I most of the time I'm too busy to get into sports anyway. Oh, I always have been. I used to always work almost round the clock. I mean, I was working on something all the time, and I stay even though I'm along. I stay busy. I mean, we just well, I did that a few months ago. I rebuilt my computer, and a friend of mine, we just did his. Rebuild it up. And if any of you are going to get a computer and you're going to get, oh, by the way, on this computer stuff, got to bring this up. Windows 10, please don't do the update. If you can stop the update, do so. You can go in there and it says delay it 7 days, hit it. Every 7 days, hit it, delay it. They're having all kinds of troubles with that last update that they did. And well, I've always been into this technology thing. And I used to fix radio and television. I fixed radio and television, back in the days of tubes. You had the little vacuum tubes you put in, this and that. And I basically grew up with the radio and television stuff because my father used to fix it. And so I got into like that. And then I got into the computer business a little bit with the old keyboard punch cards. Now, them early computers, which was the size of a house, were basically big adding machines. I mean, to some extent, that's what most people use them for. And the military had them. That's what it would tell them how much of whatever they had to have. And I remember going down with a truck. Now, this was stateside. I remember going down with a truck to get a load of stuff. A bunch of us would go down. And they'd say, well, we don't have this, we don't have that. What do you mean you don't have it? It's right over there. But yeah, but the computer says we ain't got it. Well, in those days, you had to keep this key punch card, had to keep being brought up to date. And if it wasn't, I mean, they were a mess, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, that was my first endeavor with computers. And later on, we kept going. And I had an Atari XL computer. Basically, was a keyboard. And it hooked to your television. Your hard drive and whatever was a cassette tape. And this little box plugged into this thing. That's where you back stuff up on it. It was very primitive. And then you started getting regular computers. And in those days, everybody had their own operating system. So let's say you had a Radio Shack computer that was Tandy Corporation. You had their computer. It wasn't compatible with the other brand computer because it was a different operating system. That's where Apple came in. Apple got into the schools and stuff. And they had their system. Never liked it. I didn't like their system because I couldn't get into it. It wasn't like Android and it wasn't like Windows. It was too sealed. You couldn't get in there and modify it if you had to. Do a little repair. You couldn't do it. Where Bill Gates, I'm giving him a lot of credit here, but he's due the credit. He's the one that gave you the home computer. Because if he hadn't developed the operating system that he did so that everybody could basically use it, it would have never, the home computer would have never really took off. Your Apple was always way too expensive. And a little secret is people don't realize this. Apple is the same parts inside. It's the operating system is different. It's the same parts inside that's in a Windows computer. So you can spend $1,000 over here, depending on what you want. I'm just going to use numbers now. But you can buy $1,000 Windows computer, and the same computer with Apple's name on it's $3,000. So, you know, oh yes, printing in the old days. When I was in school, we printed all the tickets for the dances and stuff, me and my buddy. All these little pieces of type, and you set it in there, you set it all in, inked it up, and you had the roller, and you ran the roller across it. Hey, look at this! I got this all printed out now, and you just kept going. Oh yeah, I remember the early days of printing. That's you got to remember something. I go back there. Oh, I'll bring up something else to you too. You know, and I'm not wishing anything on the kids. Don't get me wrong, but they talk about kids. You know, they got a traumatic experience. Well, yes, a traumatic experience is always bad on a kid. But they were hollering about the shootings here in this country that, oh, well, we got to train them now for this and that, and that's traumatic. When I grew up, we grew up under what they called the nuclear umbrella. You went down into the cellar of the school and hid during these air raids, because that they done all the time, for the nuclear bombs. And then they also taught you to get under your desk, like that was going to do you a lot of good if somebody dropped a nuclear bomb. But anyway, this is what we grew up under. We grew up under a nuclear bomb. We survived all right. Our young people are a whole lot tougher than people want to give them credit for. They've got a lot more understanding. Just tell them the truth. That's all they want. You tell young people the truth and what have you, and I think that, you know, most of them can handle it. What they can't handle is the sudden shock of not knowing that this stuff can happen and is out there. They can be sheltered too much. And I don't know. I'll give you a good one. We used to take our guns to school. I mean, I lived out in the country, and our NRA instructor was also the shop teacher. And he would give you like, I don't know, 4 or 6 weeks of gun training. I mean, you went up to his farm and shot it for you every afternoon, so you brought your gun to school. I mean, picture that today. You brought your gun to school today, they'll lock you up forever. But kids today would be bringing it in for something else, some different reason. But we've, you know, you'd have during deer season, your gun was in the trunk of the car. Those who were driving. I was lucky. I worked all summer, and I'd have enough money. I had buy me an old car and to pay the insurance. So I got to drive back and forth to school. Last 2 years I was in school, I drove back and forth on my own stuff. I had an old motorcycle I rode, and it got me there and back. That's all I can say for it, but it did. But you know, it's a different world. In my day, nobody thought it. No, I don't think there was a kid out there that thought about it, going in and shooting up a school or anything. Where am I? You have to have a special gun license. Well, you do for handguns here. Rifles and shotguns. Well, now you got to pass the the background check and stuff like that. Years ago, no, there wasn't any of that stuff. And but years ago, people were brought up with guns. It You got to remember something about a gun. A gun doesn't crawl out of its closet. It doesn't climb down out of a gun case and go out and shoot somebody. And I used to, when I retired first time, then I went to work in a sporting goods store, and we had advocates who'd come in there and arguing against guns and all this stuff. I'd say, ma'am, I said, stop and think about this. Cain slew Abel with a rock. That's from the Old Testament, by the way. I says, if you took away guns, people are going to kill each other with something else. If you got a murderer, you got a murderer. But I says, the gun doesn't kill anybody any more than a knife does or anything else. I says, it's the person. And I don't know if I got through to any of them, but and I'm like this. If people don't like guns, they don't have to have guns. You don't have to give them a gun. What the heck, nobody's going to force anybody onto anything. It's like television. If you don't like channel whatever, and you don't like the newsman on there, well, why raise Cain and try to get the man fired when you could just watch a different channel? I mean, I'm one of these guys that pretty much, I don't see a lot of the screaming and yelling over things that, just because one person don't like it, you don't take it away from everybody. No, I don't. I'm not offending anybody out there. Please don't think I am. But prayer in the school, for instance, that was taken out of school by one person. What about all the other people who wanted to pray? And to me, now there's schools out in our country that do this yet. They have little timeout periods first thing in the morning. They'll take a couple of minutes and you can do whatever you want there at your desk. You can pray, you can pledge allegiance to the flag, you can do whatever you want, quietly to yourself. Great. But there's people who don't want that. And I can't see it. Let the people do what they want to do. And I don't care what religion they are. Let them pray whatever they want to pray to themselves. Give them a minute. Let them start out their day. Yes, they will. Well, when I get a bang out of his, China tries to keep a lot of stuff quiet, but they have school massacres over there. The only thing is they have people go nuts and they go in there with meat cleavers and swords and all kinds of weird stuff that, it's unfortunately we're living in I don't know why everybody wants to be destroying kids to start with. We have certain countries in this world where they'll run in and blow themselves up in a schoolyard. I don't understand that. What did they accomplish by killing a bunch of kids? And don't make a big man of them, I'll tell you that. I don't know. I just don't understand the whole idea. And I have read most of the Bibles of the world. And the stuff that most of these people get out of them Bibles isn't in there. In fact, a lot of most of the Bibles, I'm going to say most, I think I'll say all because there's some radicals, but most of the Bibles all teach brotherly love, taking care of your neighbor, and stuff like that. And which is good stuff. And of course, communist countries hate religion. They don't want you to have religion. And but I think, of course, I happen to be religious, but I don't try to force it down anybody's throat, anything like that. If they do have a question, they want to ask me something, I'll be glad to help them try to figure out what it is that they don't understand. But I'm not going to go out there and beat on somebody and say, hey, you got to be this or you got to be that. No, no, no. Just yes, they are. 1 second, another phone. What is this one? I'll take this. I'll be right back, folks. Hello. Sorry, folks, I'm back. I had to take that call. That was the boss. Yes. Anyway, yeah, I know that. I know China is. Well, I don't know. I probably should think about winding this down. I've managed to keep you people tied up now for, well, 10, 11, almost 2 hours. I appreciate it. And I thank you all for being here. And makes me happy to have this many people here. Well, I better. Listen, I'm going to get in trouble saying some of this stuff. But anyway, Donald Trump is a whole lot better president in some ways than a lot of people want to give him credit for. we didn't have much choice. Um, but I think we got the best of what the two was at the time. He's tried to do what he promised, and boy, we haven't had president do that in years. They all just tell you everything, lie to your face, and then and whatever they promise you gets swept under the rug, just like most congressmen and senators and all this other stuff. But Donald, I'll say this for him: he's went down there and he has tried to do everything that he campaigned and said he would do. I will say that he is. A lot of people don't like him. I don't know if anybody really likes him, but I mean, it's us because as a person, he can be kind of different. But I think if he quit his twittering, I think that's the biggest thing that gets him into trouble. And if he quit twittering, I think he'd be better off. But it's been horrible. Never in the history of this country has a man been tried to stop. They tried to stop him from getting into office, and they've tried to force him out of office all the time he's been there. I mean, and they've had no reason to. It's been proven. The only one dealing with the Russians was Hillary Clinton. And she was using her computer, personal computer, for everything else. I mean, she's breaking every rule there was. And then Benghazi, she let them people get slaughtered. So she definitely didn't want her for president. I don't know. I'm going to probably get in trouble with some people for saying that, but that's all history. You can look it up. And yes, there's been some awful stuff done, but there always is. Now, Trump got into problems by trying to seal the Mexican border. Well, Obama put 1,200 troops on the Mexican border when he was in office. So, no difference. All been done. But of course, now that party is going to claim that this party, well, they're doing this. Well, you guys already did it. That's what I'm saying. They got to stop fighting each other and come together, which I don't think they're ever going to. I'd hate to think it's too far gone, but I don't know. I don't know if you're ever going to get the people. What the people got to do in this country, they all got to get together and start voting people out of office. You can't leave people in there 8, 10 terms because they don't even know you exist. They run out, they campaign a little bit, and they just go back down there and do whatever they feel like. You've got to basically purge the system. You got to get everybody that's down there basically has got to go. You got to, there's a few people down there. Nancy Pelosi, I think somebody said she's 80. It's time for her to retire. It's time for her to be out of there. They're all too set in their ways. They've been there too long. Schumer's another one. I used to like Schumer. He used to be kind of like the people's go-to guy. You call his office or something, he looked into it. He's just like all the rest of them now. They've all been there too long. It's time to get them out. And unfortunately, it ain't going to happen. You got so many people in this country. Did I open a can of worms, Gene? Yes, you got it. You got it right. It needs to change. They need to get out and get some new blood in there and some people who want to work for the people. Not to just stand up and go, oh, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to look after you. No, no. You got to have some people who actually try to do what they want. And that's the big thing that they can't understand about Donald Trump. He's tried it. He's trying to do it. And that neither party really like him because he's not one of them. He doesn't go along with them. And now, is he the best president in the world? No. Is he the best president we ever had? No. Harry Truman, I think, was the best president we ever had. But anyway, then that's going way back, and I was a little kid. But anyhow, I'm going by what all the old people said. Anyway, folks, I think I'm going to draw this to a close today. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. God bless you all. And Blue Creator 77, you came in a little bit late. I'm glad you're here. And I didn't get a whole lot of chances to talk to you much. I'm best leave on a high note. No, we that's one thing. I'm one of these people, I can actually debate. I can actually get in a discussion and debate. And I'm willing to listen to the other fella and look at his side and everything else. I mean, this is what we have to do. This is what our politicians should do. They should sit there and look at all sides of a picture. It doesn't happen in our world. I wished it did. Listen, God bless you all. I appreciate you all. And I'm gonna sign out now. And anybody got anything they want to say before I go? Let's just click it in there. I'll give you a minute. Just in case anybody's got anything else they want to add. But we will be doing this again. And I've enjoyed it. I enjoy it when I got all my friends here. Okay, I don't see anybody. Oh, here comes one. Well, thank you. And God bless you too. And on that note, I think I don't see anybody else typing anything in. So I think we will close down. And I thank each and every one of you for being here. I was just kind of giving a minute here just in case somebody else had something to say. Because I like it when everybody else comes up with something. I don't even care if it's controversial. It could be anything you want, as long as it's clean. I try to run a very clean channel. Maybe I'll play us on out of here a little bit. That wasn't very good. I got to think of 3 different things to once. It didn't hardly come out worth a nickel. That's pretty good for an old man with COPD. I'll tell you that right now. Sometimes I get enough air to play and sometimes I don't. Okay. God bless us all. I'll see you all later. And next time, I hope you're all here. And I don't know how many of you saw that on my community forum. I posted it on that. And I don't know if anybody actually sees that or not. But anyway, I hope some did. Okay. Nobody else is adding nothing. Okay, I'm gone. God bless you. Oops, here comes one. I finally got around to watching one of your live streams. Tell Sharon I said hi. Will do. Okay. I'm glad you caught a live stream. Most of my live streams have to be done in a hurry. I have to do them when Sharon ain't here because she thinks this YouTube thing is a complete waste of time. I can't seem to get her interested at all in it. And I told her, I says, if you'd help me make these videos, I could make a lot better videos. My little short videos and stuff would be, I've got some stuff that I would love to put on here. I've got some antique stuff. I've got an antique bear. Well, she's got an antique bear that has got 4 different outfits. It's a beautiful thing. And I'd love to ever put the different outfits on and film it, and just, I think, somebody might get a bang out of it. I've got a lot of little things like that. Plus the stuff outside that we could film that would be, well, when we get outside again. I did sneak up to Chucky Havener's the other day for a few minutes. I walked in and walked back out. It was too crowded. And I didn't want to be around that much of a crowd. I'll be honest with you. Okay. Going to shut her down. I don't see anything else being typed in. Okay. God bless you all, and we'll see you all next time. Oops, well, someone typed in. A very nice grandfather. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Bubbles there. He's from England, and he's kind of my adopted grandson. Yeah, that's what we do. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Now I'm going to shut her down, and we'll catch us all later. Bless yous all, and I'm gone.